Okay, everyone, I'm here with Mr. Paul Rushforth. He's up in Ottawa, up in the province of Ontario. Good friend of mine. I was excited all day. I told my wife this morning I got Paul on our podcast today, and she knows Paul very well. And we were both just talking about some of the memories that I had with Paul. So thanks for coming on, Paul.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was telling Sherry, I said, I got Paul coming on the call, and she says, oh, my God, that's great. How's he doing? And I mean, we go back, I don't know how many years, Paul, but I remember you being earlier in the business, probably somewhere around 2005, 2006, somewhere in that area where we met back in a prior coaching program. And I mean, you were on fire back then, and I know you're continuing to do that here into 2020. So really excited to get this podcast with you today. And just to really start off by just asking a few questions, Paul, about really just getting into this business. I know you were in the hockey, professional hockey business back in, I think it was like about 10 years or so that you were a professional hockey player.
Yeah.
And then you got into real estate. Can you give us a little background, just how that all transitioned, and maybe just a little background, how you got into real estate after hockey?
Sure. Yeah. So I played 10 years of pro hockey all throughout North America. My last 4 years were in London, England. And truthfully, you have that, I guess when you're a professional hockey player, you can either go the university route or you can go a different route and go play in the OHL, Ontario Hockey League. I chose the Ontario Hockey League. So I have a high school education. I didn't get a university education. And by the time my career was coming to an end, it was cut short by concussions. The only thing I knew was real estate because my mom was in real estate. And that's, as a professional athlete, it's hard coming out of that sport because you don't know what to do. You don't have some craft that you want to work on. So I got into real estate in 2004. I actually wanted to join my mom as sort of a buyer's agent, and she said no. I said, what do you mean, no? She said, you'll make it on your own. You don't need me. And I guess I just succeeded out of fear, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I got into real estate in 04. You and I met, I think you're probably right, somewhere around 06 in the coaching program we were in together. We go way back. We have lots of fun stories.
So you got into the business 04. Since 2007, you've been the number one, or you and your team has been number one in all of Ottawa. And then in 2009, you were number one for KW, Keller Williams, back then worldwide, not only in Canada, but also worldwide. Yeah. And so you took a huge leap. And going back to those early days, I mean, when I talk to people getting into the business, there's so many agents that they get into the business with all these great ideas, but they fail. 87% fail in their first 2 years. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, if you were getting into the real estate business today, what would be some things you would do different knowing what you know now?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, it was my success that helped me to get to my success, but also almost killed me, was I spent a lot of money. I had full page ads, billboards, you name it, I was doing it. But it helped me become successful very quick. But I went through 3 years of going down to my last penny, credit cards being maxed. And so I probably wouldn't go that route again. But then again, it helped me propel to be successful quick. The one thing I would say is what all successful realtors or all successful people do is, one, they're not scared to fail. I wasn't scared to fail. If you fail and then turtle, that's where you die. If you fail and propel from that, that's where you succeed. And I think, someone asked me one time on stage, what makes me so successful? My answer was, because I'm a bigger failure than you. And that's true. I'm a bigger failure than most people because I've failed so many times, but I've learned from those failures and I've grown from those failures, and I've just gone in a totally different direction. The other thing I did, and I strongly recommend anyone getting into the business, is you have to be a sponge. You have to be a sponge, throw your ego out and just be a sponge, learn from the best. And, I learned from some of the best. Our coaching program we were in together, I learned from you, Lester, all the guys in that coaching program. But I was up at 5:00 in the morning, and back in the days of Keller Williams, they had all these, what were they called? VHS, like tapes and all that. Yep. And I would study people's listing presentations. I'd study people's routines. I've studied people, anything that I could learn. I was a sponge. If there was a course, I was on it. If there was, no matter what there was. I mean, people would say to me, you're a couple of years in the business, you're selling a couple hundred homes. Why do you need a coach as well? Tiger Woods needs a coach. Wayne Gretzky needs a coach. Everyone needs a coach, and I need direction. And that's one of the things that got me into coaching as well, which was another thing that really helped me on in success was coaching.
It is true. I mean, even coming from the hockey, a very competitive sport, right? Being in hockey. And I believe you were even an assistant coach yourself when you did that as well. And, coaching still today, I still have coaches myself. I know you have coaches as well. And I think that's something that it's an investment in ourselves. And there's so many agents that I see out there that have received coaching and they've done very well. And then you see some agents that have done well without coaching, but it's been a struggle. And and then I think I see the other side of it where a lot of people don't want to invest in coaching. I think it's so important. Either you get a coach or you make sure that you're working for someone who's a great mentor or who runs a great team that you can actually work off of. So, and I know, coming up to your office, I think, I don't know, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago. I actually brought my team and my staff, a couple of people from my staff up to see you. And you just have an incredible operation. I mean, if anyone was thinking of selling up in Ottawa, you definitely got to use you guys. I mean, you guys do an awesome job.
I appreciate that, Willie. And to be honest with you, if you remember, I came down to your office too, and got to be in one of your huge team meetings, and I learned a lot from that as well, especially the structure of your team meetings and that I took home as well. So I think we run very similar businesses, to be honest with you, in what we do.
You're right, because I mean, we run more of a broker team model, right? So, and you do the same thing. Where we're a brokerage, we're independent, but we're building our teams, and we treat our agents as team members, obviously, and we're giving them leads, and we're providing with the support, the training, the coaching, and that's huge because a lot of agents don't realize that they don't get that at the regular type franchises out there. And I'm not knocking franchise, a lot of great franchises that are out there, but I know for what we provide and what we give to our agents, you don't find that in a lot of brokerages.
No, you don't. And, I'm sure you're going to ask this question, but you're probably going to say, if I was brand new in the business, what would I do? And my first thing I would do is seek out the best qualified team to join. And I know, I was sitting through your team meeting there. The training you guys did was unbelievable. And I think that as a new agent in the industry, you need that. You need that because you join a different brokerage. It's like, there's your desk, there's your phone, good luck. You have to seek out other training methods. But, with a team like yours, a team like mine, I mean, my sole job is I don't sell anymore. My sole job is to educate and train my team to be better than me. And most of these guys are better than me. And it's funny when someone calls and says, no, I want to deal with Paul. I'll call them and say, you really don't. You really don't. You want to deal with my team, not me.
Right. So. But it is true because, I mean, you run the radio show, and I know a lot of you've been doing it for, I mean, how many years now you've been doing the radio show?
Almost 13 years we've been doing the radio show. Yeah. It's on a top talk radio here in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. We do it Saturday prime time, 11 to 12, and we've been doing it now for almost 13 years, and it's been a screaming success.
That's awesome. Yeah. So a lot of people see you, they listen to you for a number of years. And they know, like, and trust you already. So they already feel that they know you, right? Because I know, because we've done radio shows, we've done TV shows, and it's like, you walk in and they feel like they already know who you are. And it's kind of weird. Like at first when people used to, know a little bit more about you than you know about them, it was a little bit weird. But as time went on, I felt that that's exactly what we were doing and why we were doing what we were doing, because the educated client and a client that is a good follower is going to remain with you, give you repeat and referral business, and they're a great contact. So back in the day, I guess when, thinking back to when we first started, I know you were very successful and you still are very successful with inside sales. And I think I was speaking in one of the breakout sessions, and I remember you coming up to me and saying, I need that 3-4-12, and I want that information about the follow-up. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. Yeah.
Tell us a little about your inside sales process and the importance of follow-up. Because I know a lot of agents get a lot of leads, and what they don't understand is that 80% of those leads are down the road. You've done a great job perfecting that lead conversion. And I just thought maybe you can share a little bit about what you guys do on lead conversion.
For sure. Yeah. To me, it's the backbone of our business is the inside sales position. In fact, when I was still trading, Obviously, the first thing I gave up was my buyers. I had buyer reps. And then the second thing I gave up is I trained someone to be better than me on listing presentations. So I slowly got myself away from that. The last job I did was as an inside sales agent for the team. And I hated it because it's a skill set that I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I like being on the phone. I'd rather be in person and with people and connecting with people. So what I did is I hired someone to replace me in the inside sales position. And since then, we've grown a team of 5 inside sales agents. And these guys have been with me. You think, that it's a burn and churn position and they can't last more than a year. I got 2 guys over 10 years with me. I got another guy at 9 years. My newest person is 6 years. So they've been with me forever. I treat that position like one of the most important positions on the team. And their sole job is to get back to leads like that, because we know that, like you said, 80%, like 2/3 of business is future business. And if I'm an agent right now, I'm busy and I get someone calling in saying, yeah, I'm looking 5 months down the road, boom, that's gone. That lead is absolutely gone. But my inside sales team, their job is to nurture those leads until they're ready to go for my outside sales team. We have a lot of procedures in place, systems in place that allow these guys to be successful. But it's absolutely the backbone of what we do as an inside sales team. Mainly because we know that leads have to be responded to within 5 to 10 minutes. And your success rate, if you respond to it in 5 minutes, goes through the roof. Right. The problem is we're busy agents. We're on the road. We're going for lunch. We've got kids. We have family, this and that. We don't get back to leads quick enough. So if you have someone who's manning the phones, and we have them from 9 to 9 and 9 to 5 on the weekend. So no lead goes missed with this inside sales team. It's so important.
Now, a lot of people say, what's the best CRM? That's a question I get all the time. And I know we struggle with this over the years as well. What CRM are you guys using now?
So we use Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is very robust, very complicated. If you're a brand new agent in the business, I probably don't recommend Infusionsoft. It's for, Jocelyn. Jocelyn basically runs the company through Infusionsoft. It's brilliant for her. There's lots of easier CRMs out there, but once you start getting into the hundreds and thousands of sales, you need something like an Infusionsoft.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, for a typical agent coming in, I mean, I often refer HubSpot as a great database, very simple. Because really all you need to do is get your names in there, get the follow-up sequence so that you can get back to them when you said you get back to them, and just keep notes and email addresses and addresses for sure.
And one of the most important things is a CRM is perfect for that, to keep keep notes in there, to know what you've talked about, to remind you of your next call, your next appointment. But what's really, really important about a CRM too is you need a drip system. You need to be able to drip on people, because if you have 100, 200, 1,000, 10,000 people in your CRM, you can't call everyone all the time. But if you can drip on them through a drip campaign, they're hearing from you, they're touching you. So make sure your CRM has that capability.
Awesome. 3-4-12. I know we talked about that before. Any thoughts on that, or how an agent should apply that type of frequency on follow-up?
Well, we were doing that, Will. I'll say we have got away from it. But my agents are, my inside sales agents will drip on someone almost every day for probably 7 days. And then it could be every second day for 7 days until we either call it dead or get a hold of those people. But we're constantly in communication with those people. And our average right now, our average deal from the time it enters into our system to the time they actually meet with us on an appointment is anywhere between 1 and 1.5 months. So it just shows you, if you're just following up once or twice, gone. You're not enough. You need to be constantly following up, because people usually do business with you on the eighth attempt. So you need at least 8 attempts at these people.
Okay. Awesome. So let's talk about leads. Like, everyone's like, what's the best lead source? And I mean, it seems like every time I talk to some of the agents, as soon as they get licensed, they get bombarded with emails and phone calls, all these different lead sources, and, these automatic, things that they can get on social media and everything else. But what would you say? I mean, your top 3 lead sources. I mean, I know radio show has been your biggest one, right?
Yeah.
But what would you say, besides the radio show giving you leads, what would you say some of the other better resources of leads are?
So keep in mind here in Ottawa, we don't have IDX. So we don't have a lot of those sites that you guys are able to use. We do use Commissions Inc., but it's fairly expensive. Obviously the radio show is number one. Radio presence is number one because I do a lot on the radio. I don't just do the show. I do a lot of advertising on the radio. Gotcha. Once again, brand new agent, very expensive. So I don't recommend that's where you go right now. So radio show, radio advertising, sign calls, and then number 3 would be Commissions Inc. Problem with those lead sources, as you guys know, because you guys have all the boom towns and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
They're expensive. And if you're not willing to put in a lot of attempts to follow up with these people, I would not be signing up and wasting your money with it because they're longer term leads. So if you're going to do that, just make sure you have a great follow-up system in place with some of these, IDX sites. But I'd say sign calls, we get tons because we in this market, our listings are gone, but usually we have, upwards of 100, 200 listings. But right now, I think we're carrying about 35, which is the lowest we've carried in eons.
Wow, 35. So yeah, like you said, but these pendings are through the roof, right? Because every time you put something on, it's gone.
Yeah. We've had through this pandemic. I mean, what I did with my team is we did a Zoom call every single morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was not a mandatory. It was like, you want to come on, get recharged. You want to talk about it. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 25 minutes. Just so I see you guys and I can educate you what's going on. And my message was really, really clear with these guys. It was number 1, stay safe, stay healthy. Number 2 was move the business forward. And number 3 was load the cannons for when we come out of this. And right. I think that's one thing that we are really, really strong on is even some of my agents that refused to go out of the house because they were worried, they worked their business. They were constantly on the phone. They got up at, whatever time they get up, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. They did their routine as if they were going to work every single day. And because of that, a lot of these guys didn't miss a beat. And, 9 of my 12 agents are actually ahead of where they were last year. So they really did a really good job through this pandemic. And, a lot of it was about loading the cannons too. Like my inside sales team, they worked sometimes 12 hours a day. They had to get ready for when we were ready to sell and get out of this. And as far as the pandemic goes, in our real estate market, there was no pandemic. Right. So much like a lot of places throughout the States and Canada, there's the real estate market just went.
Yeah, New York was one of the hardest hit in the beginning, and same message came across with our team as well. I mean, we had a couple of days of, okay, what's going to happen here? And then after that, we all got back to work. We had calls every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We had calls in between, but the same message was basically stay healthy, stay safe. That was number 1 priority. But we had a lot of agents just start getting on the phone and start doing their check-in calls with customers, see how they were doing. Prior clients that they had as well. But that the one thing though, Paul, is that a lot of them were selling homes virtually, right? Just going through and never even saw the house, listing homes, selling homes through virtual methods. And so there's a way that you can do it if you really want to do it. But then you had some agents that just checked out and they maybe, I don't know, I don't want to pick on anyone in particular, but I'm thinking of a few that I've talked to, not only in my company, but also around the country I talk to that use as more of an excuse not to work.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are suffering now, but I see all of our top agents definitely for the most part are ahead where they were last year, just like you mentioned. So
it was funny. There's a Facebook group here in Ottawa and I'm reading this Facebook group and I'm seeing all these agents are like, well, you know what? Now I'm going to take up cooking and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I can't wait to do this. Now I'm like, what are you doing? Like right. You got to keep the needle going, and a lot of them fired themselves. Like they really just took the pandemic off. They looked at it as a vacation. Did I do some things that I wanted to do because of the time that we had now? Absolutely, I did. I started getting back into activities and walking and things like that, which was great. But I wasn't walking listening to music. I was walking listening to podcasts, listening to, anything I could to stimulate my brain and keep my focus. Because as a leader of the company, and I know you're a tremendous leader of your company, as a leader of a company, you can't quit. You can't quit. And you have to, a lot of my time I spent through the pandemic just motivating my guys, just keeping them going, giving them good news, telling them that things are going to be great. And that's what a true leader does. They're selfless and they have to make sure that they're keeping their team, their company going, no matter what's happening in the world.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's shift a little bit on the social media side. Do you guys do a lot with social media or where are you guys at with that?
We do a ton, and actually in 2018 and 2019, there's a place, a mag, or sort of like a company that ranks all the agents. We've been ranked #1 in social media. Jocelyn, my assistant, who's been with me since day one, who she crushes it. She crushes it. She crushes it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the sites that you have to.
Right.
Super, super important. And I do see agents, the mistake that agents make, especially newer ones. Obviously, you don't mix your business page and your personal page. That's the first thing you don't. People start off unfollowing you when I'm starting posting all my listings on my personal page. They don't want to see that. What people really want is information and content is really what people want. Don't get on there and start, it's not a sell. It's not a sell. You want to position yourself as the authority figure and someone who's willing to help and give out information in order to receive.
That's so true. I tell people now, I see a lot of agents make a huge mistake now, even with the everything with politics, right? With this presidential election coming up here.
Yeah.
We're taping this now in September. It's coming up here in a few weeks. I told agents to listen, go ahead. It's freedom of speech. And if you want to go ahead and put that stuff on your Facebook page or social media, you can, but expect you're going to lose a lot of business.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's some nasty conversations going with each post that you do. And not only that, but also religion too. So that's like a big no-no, I tell. And all of our agents, for the most part, have done a great job not doing that. But social media can be very strong, but it can also hurt you as well.
Well, you keep in mind, it doesn't disappear, right? I mean, once it's out there, someone has seen it, someone's recorded it, someone's screenshotted it. But yeah, I on my social media page, I stay right away from politics. I stay right away from religion or race or any of that kind of stuff. I'm partial on all that. There's times where you want to take a stand, but what you have to realize is once you take a stand on this, you've made an enemy on this, right? Like if I take a stand on, a politician, well, you know what? If I say I don't like Trump, whoever supports Trump is not liking me, right? So you gotta be careful. I mean, you're not out there just trying to make everyone happy, but at the same time, careful what you put out there in the world. And it should all be content driven. It has to help. It has to help people. They have to want to read your post. And what are you putting in there that's enough for them to read it?
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Couple questions and we'll wrap it up. Time management. A lot of agents struggling with that. I know that you teach and help your agents with it, especially now with the pandemic. I mean, well, I don't know about you, but I'm sure it's the same with you. But I've had some agents like, Willie, I don't, they can't even breathe, right? Where's the paper bag? I mean, they're having panic attacks. I mean, they just one after another. I mean, deals were coming in, deals were going, appraisal issues, inspection issues, but it was just like you went from 0 to 100 pretty quick.
Yeah.
And, but, I don't think, obviously that I keep telling them like, listen, take it now as it's coming through. We know this is not going to be the norm forever. But just take it back to more of a normal market. And really for the new agents, I think new agents coming into the business, one of the things that they struggle with is, what do I do? Right. They're coming from a 9-to-5 job and then it's all of a sudden, what do I do? Any advice you can give for say a newer agent coming in as to what, their schedule should be, again, knowing now what how they should have their day-to-day operations go?
Yeah. So I actually had an interview the other day with a brand new agent who's killing it, is crushing it, but he's telling me his schedule. It was like 5 to 6, I do this, 6 to 7, like all day he was regimented. And I said, you do have to leave some space for change. If something happens, so some sort of change. But what I would tell new agents coming in this business is there's a few things that you need to do. Number one, you need to build your brand as quick as possible and as cheap as possible. So social media is a great way to build that brand. Okay. You need to build that brand. Number two, get out and do open houses. Get out and do open houses and meet people. A lot of people say, well, you open houses are useless. They're not useless to meet people. You want to be able to meet people. Number two, you need a good CRM, which is very, very important. You have to master. These are probably the 4 or 5 things that I tell new agents. This is what you need to do. New agents, even when they're coming to my company. So the CRM, presentations, you have to be able to master a presentation. You have to be able to present. But even more important than presenting, you need to master the DISC. The DISC, as you obviously know what it is. For the agents who out there that don't, it's a personality profile, DISC. Because if you know how to present, but you don't know how to read someone's personality profile, your presentation's useless. So the DISC, mastering it, the presentation, CRM, open houses right there. That's all I do.
Yeah, that's great advice. We were just having a conversation the other day about that, where we had a high, I guess, S personality type agent go in on against a D and didn't like the feel of getting shut down pretty quick. But you got to read your person, you got to read that prospect when you go into it. And I totally agree with you 100%.
Well, and I warn my agents too, when they're going through the training process, because we probably have a 2 or 3 month training process. At the end of it, they have to do the listing and the buyer presentation to me. And I always warn them, okay, we've talked about the disc, we've educated you on the disc, we've done training on the disc. Now you're presenting to me. Present to me like you should present to a high D personality. And there's times where they'll present it, it's like 45 minutes long, I'm falling asleep like this. And I said, that's great if you're presenting to an S and a C, but you've lost me. I don't even know what you're saying anymore. Like, I'm gone. You need to present to that person the way they need to be presented to. And I think that was one of my biggest strengths when I was trading in real estate was I was a chameleon. I didn't care if you were a 90-year-old grandmother or a 30-year-old millennial. I knew how to present to you because I knew your personality type, and just knowing what questions to ask to learn that personality profile is so important. It's more important to master the disc than it is to present. It really is. And my inside sales agents now are so good at recognizing disc by what they're asking that they'll actually put it in the notes. Just so you know, you're going in to present to a high S. Just so you know, you're going to present to a high C. So the agents know how to prepare for that appointment, how they have to present for it. That's super important.
Yeah, that makes it so much easier when you know that, get that out of the way.
Yeah.
All right, awesome stuff. Well, I know you do a lot for the community and giving back, so many different things that you're involved in and charities and stuff like that. Wanted to see if you could talk a little about the importance of that, what you guys actually do, and also talk a little bit about your golf event as well.
For sure. Well, you know what? One thing I realized as I started to establish myself in the business, and I started to make some good money, is that it's very important to give back. And too many people give back for the recognition. And that's not the reason to give back. The reason to give back is, they say that money doesn't buy happiness, but money does buy opportunity. And the one thing that's done for me is it's given me an opportunity to help other people. So we're invested in lots of different charities. But one of our biggest events, just like you did, is the charity golf tournament. We've had multiple charities over the years. We'll raise anywhere. I think we've raised over the last 8 years. We've been doing it somewhere in the range of $250,000 to $300,000 for our charities. It's a fun day. People love it. And we're raising money for a great cause. Throughout the year, we're always doing different charity events. I think the golf tournament's probably our biggest, just like it's probably your biggest. And unfortunately, through this pandemic, we weren't able to do the golf tournament. Like we mentioned before talking, it was trying to ask businesses for money in this climate. It was really tough. And there's some that have thrived and there's some that are dying right now. It's hard to ask for money. So the only issue is that our charities suffered now. I mean, we have one charity, the Orleans Cumberland Resource Center, that we're responsible for 25% of their revenue. So that was a harsh one for them. And we're still trying to do other things to raise money for them through this pandemic. But yeah, I believe in giving back. I believe in giving back without recognition. I mean, it's great sometimes when you get recognized for it, but that's not why you want to do charity events. You want to do charity events because you're helping, it makes you feel good. And then people know you. Like, I've had so many people call me and say, I want to sell my house with you because you're just a real giving person to everybody. And it's nice to know that. It's nice to be recognized as you are, as someone who's a leader in charity functions and charity events and helping people. So it's a huge proponent of our business for sure.
Awesome, man. Keep up the great work. And I know you guys came down here originally when you wanted to start doing golf tournaments. You came down and saw ours. And you went back and just plussed it and did a great job with it. We actually have those cutouts with the funny faces and stuff like that. Actually, I don't think we did the funny faces, but we got the cutouts with my head, with Brian's head on there. And
cool.
It's pretty funny. We put them out on the course. People were putting into our face and stuff. But we got that from you, and just the way you market that. But it just, like you said, it's fun. People enjoy it. Gets people together. It gets community together. And it's all for a great cause. And
well, the one thing, Willie, about my golf tournament is I said to the organizers right at the start, I said, listen, I don't have the time to be trying to recruit sponsorship every single year. Right. So I want to make this golf tournament so fun that I don't pick up the phone. They call me to be involved in it next year. So we probably could give a little bit more money to charity, but at the same time, I want it to be fun, that people want to come back. And so we have food and booze on every second hole, whether it's, shrimp on the Barbie, whether it's beers, whether it's coolers, whether it's, pulled pork sandwiches, whatever it is, on every second hole. So the people either come in a little bit drunk, but they definitely come in full. And then we put on a great live event and auction and stuff like that. And it just makes it so easy every year to recruit to that event. And it's because running a golf tournament, it's so hard, as you know. It's so hard to put that together. People don't know the hours that you spend putting that together. And what do we get from that besides the way we feel after doing it? But money-wise, we get nothing from that. We're doing it to help, right? And I wanted to make my event so fun that people just wanted to come back. And I think we did that.
We had it in our schedule this year to come up, Paul.
Yeah, we'll have to do each other's golf tournament.
Absolutely. Next year, 2021, we're doing it. Doing it. All right. Last question. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see real estate really in the next 10 or 15 years? But really for yourself and your team, Paul, what's next? What's the next step?
Well, I'm going to continue to grow the business. We're at 12 agents right now. We'll do about 700 deals a year. So our agents are very productive. I would like to hit that 1,000 mark when it comes to deals. I don't necessarily want to add too many more people to the team, but I'd like to hit that 1,000 mark, that 1,000 deal mark. But one thing I think through this pandemic is things are changing, and it's a new norm now. You've seen my big office in the east end of Ottawa. I also have one in the west end of Ottawa. And some days I think, do I need an office? Like, do I need this square footage? Do I need it? I mean, right now I'm sitting in 4,500 square feet by myself. The future of real estate, could it be, no more bricks and mortar? Very well could be. But one thing I can tell you is there's a lot with all these different companies coming in and, buying houses and, saying we don't need real estate agents, we can just do it. You will always need a real estate agent. You always need to feel, touch, and negotiate. You need a real estate agent for that. So anyone who thinks that the realtors are going to be gone, they'll never be gone. No one's really buying houses without going in and touching them and feeling them. No one is doing that. I mean, there might be a few, but most people have to go in, touch, and feel that. And that's where the realtor comes in. And negotiations. We are professional negotiators. You'll always need someone to negotiate. So I don't think realtors are going anywhere. Will the business change? Absolutely. We saw the business change. We saw this business change through the pandemic, the way people are doing things. You have agents who have never done anything when it comes to technology are now technology whizzes. You've seen people who have, never picked up a phone and walked through a house and shown people the house, and the people buying it, they're doing that now. So I do believe real estate will change, but I strongly believe it's going to change for the better.
Awesome. All right, Paul, great stuff. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I know you're a busy guy, and was excited, like I said, to get you on this podcast. So thank you so much. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast, there's a lot of nuggets on there, and they'll listen to it over and over again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If someone was looking to either relocate or had a buyer or seller that was looking to do business in real estate up in Ottawa for you, what are some best contact numbers, and maybe a contact number and email address that they can get a hold of you at?
For sure. The phone number at the office here is 613-788-2122. And my email address is very simple. It's paul@paulrushforth.com. And Rushforth is just like it sounds, Rushforth. Paul@paulrushforth.com.
Yeah, and I'll put that on the screen here too so that everyone has it. And paulrushforth.com, I think, is the best way. Probably also just go on your website. You got a great website, great agents. Tell Jocelyn I said hello. I know she's been a huge part of just the growth and success of your company as well. And, you've done a great job, man. You've done a great job. I know a lot of agents I talk to, even though we don't talk as much as we used to do before. I know you're just a phone call away, and I know you can call me as well. And there's a lot of agents that definitely aspire to what you've built and refer to a lot of stuff that you taught them as well. So thanks for always giving. Thanks for giving out to the community. And here's to a great 2020 and even better 2021.
Thanks, Willie. And listen, thanks for having me on. And you know what some people don't understand is I've had some great coaches over the years, and one of my coaches was you. So I do appreciate everything you've done to help me, my business get to where it is too. So you're a big part of it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Talk to you soon.
Take care, bud.